If you have any drugs or any alcohol, give me some.
Are you listening to a lot of Justin Bieber? Is that what we're gonna... Justin Bieber?
Who the is Justin Bieber?
He was the funniest, sweetest guy I'd ever met because he was so vulnerable.
He was the voice of darkness, but had the heart of light. Is that really all Paul McCartney wrote in his final message? A hidden letter, a private funeral, and a truth buried for decades. Was Ozzy Osbourne's final goodbye hiding more than we've been told? Chapter 1. Who really was Ozzy Osbourne? Ozzy Osbourne wasn't just a rock star, he was a movement. Known worldwide as the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy carved a brutal, brilliant path through music history as the lead singer of Black Sabbath, the band that practically invented heavy metal. His haunting vocals, wild stage antics, and unapologetic style made him one of the most unforgettable voices in rock. But Ozzy's success didn't end with Sabbath. His solo career soared, giving us legendary hits like Crazy Train and No More Tears. He built a musical empire from darkness and chaos, yet millions felt deeply connected to him. Behind the screaming guitars and demonic imagery was a man who, as his closest ones knew, had a surprisingly soft heart. Ozzy became a household name again in the 2000s with The Osbournes, the reality show that revealed the raw, real, and sometimes hilarious side of his home life. He wasn't just the king of metal, he was a father, a survivor, and a man who never stopped pushing forward, even as his health began to fail. And then, Chapter 2, Paul McCartney spoke. On the opposite end of the music spectrum stood Paul McCartney, the living legend of the Beatles, one of the greatest songwriters in history, a symbol of melody, peace, and polished perfection. McCartney and Osbourne came from two completely different worlds. But somehow, behind the scenes, those worlds weren't as far apart as they seemed. Shortly after Ozzy's death, McCartney sent a handwritten letter to the Osbourne family. No interviews, no social media posts, just one note, delivered quietly, read only once. It was a final message meant to be heard only at Ozzy's funeral, a deeply private moment shared with the Osbourne family and a few close friends. Kelly Osbourne read it out loud during the service, and when she did, the room fell completely silent. The letter began with a sentence that shocked everyone. He was the voice of darkness, but had a heart of light. Then, McCartney admitted something few could believe. As a young man, he had avoided Ozzy, not out of hate, but misunderstanding. He thought they were too different to ever connect. His world was love songs and harmonies. Ozzy's was fire and shadows. But music changed that, respect grew, and as time passed, McCartney saw something more in Ozzy, something real. He said Ozzy had broken through every prejudice he'd ever had. Ozzy stood for something bigger than just heavy metal. That, in the end, their differences didn't divide them, they defined them. McCartney closed the letter by including a personal copy of the Beatles' In My Life, Ozzy's favorite song. The same one Ozzy once said was the only song that ever made me stop and be silent. It wasn't just a tribute, it was an olive branch, a final salute, and a truth McCartney had kept to himself for decades until now. But Ozzy didn't wait until it was too late to express his love for McCartney. Chapter 3, When Legends Collide. Back in 2001, a rare and heartwarming moment between the two legends was captured on camera, and it's now resurfacing in the wake of Ozzy's death. During a live interview on The Howard Stern Show, Ozzy found out that Paul McCartney would be speaking to Stern next. Ozzy lit up. "I've been in his presence," he said, "but I've never actually spoken to him. The guy's a genius." Moments later, cameras followed Ozzy down the hall. Then came the handshake, the hug, and the line that said it all. "It's been a lifetime ambition of mine, you guys made me start music." As McCartney smiled and walked off, Ozzy turned to the camera, eyes wide, and whispered like a kid meeting a hero. "It's like my dream came true today. Hold on to your dreams. Even legends have idols." Now, that moment is surfacing once more, flooding the internet as fans search for meaning in McCartney's final tribute. The letter, the song, the silence. It has taken Ozzy's legacy and launched it into something larger, more eternal, not just the king of heavy metal, but a bridge between worlds. Chapter 4, The Final Bow. But if you knew Ozzy, you'd know he wasn't afraid of death. In fact, he made fun of it. Always the dark comedian, he used to joke about recording a message for his funeral where he'd ask a doctor for a second opinion on being dead. He even talked about knocking from inside the coffin, classic Ozzy, flipping even the heaviest moment into something laugh-out-loud insane. He didn't want a stiff farewell. He wanted his final bow to feel like a concert, a celebration, a showstopper, and maybe he got it. Just 17 days before his death, Ozzy returned to the stage one final time. Villa Park Stadium in Birmingham lit up like it hadn't in years. He stood once again beside Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward, his Black Sabbath brothers, for one last night of thunder. The crowd roared, and with all the power he had left, Ozzy gave them one more song, one final thank you. "It's the last song ever," he told the crowd, his voice shaking but proud. "Your support has enabled us to live an amazing lifestyle. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts." 17 days later, he was gone. Ozzy Osbourne died peacefully, surrounded by family. His final resting place may be hidden among the quiet gardens of his estate, a world away from the roar of the crowd. But the echo of his voice, his madness, and his heart will live on forever. Rest easy, Ozzy.